Yeah. Beat.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Windy City Savage. I am your host, Windy City Savage himself. Happy Stone Cold Steve Austin 316 Day. You already know we have our beers ready. We're ready to talk some smack, some wrestling. Let's go, fellas. By the way, these guys are my co-hosts. Introduce yourself.
Anybody? What's up, everybody? Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I'll just start then. Hi,
Yeah. Go for it, old man. Go ahead. You go first, old man.
All right, I'll go first then. Hello, everybody. I'm just here for a millisecond. I'm Old Man RJ, and I'm here to celebrate Austin Day, my brother's birthday too. Happy birthday, Churro, and happy Austin Day to all the wrestling fans around the world. Go ahead, Tony Kid.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, me, TDK. Thank you for stopping out by, man. I'm here with Windy City Savage. We're going to have a nice little show today. I think it's going to be intense for a fact. Happy B-Day. Happy 316 day of all days. It's going to be nice of all course. Go ahead, Windy.
All right, let's get into the first topic. WWE 2K25 release. We gave it about a week. We got early access. Well, I did it. The old man was a little late to the party, but better late than never. We played a couple of matches, my rise, all that good stuff, and this is your now. Old man, what do you got to say about the game, first of all? Mechanics, gameplay, what do you think?
I think the gameplay has improved a lot. It's a lot easier to grapple in the game. I think the reverses are more. I think the reverses are more smooth, and I love the fact that you can't really like back in the old days. You could punch somebody and the guy would like be flopping around and everything.
Yeah.
Here you could punch them and it looks like a real punch. I also love the camera view when you pin somebody. Like if you do a finisher.
Yeah.
When you pin them, I love the up and close that you get with the camera.
Yeah, a couple of new features. You got a third person view now in the entrance and when you're doing finishers and stuff. So it's kind of a nice touch to the game mechanics and all.
That's the one thing I like. Another thing I want to bring out is finishers and finishers. I love that you have to I love the fact that you have to actually have it right where it needs to be, and the fact that when you hit it, it looks so clearly like the actual thing.
Yeah.
Even the reverses are not like goofy reverses.
Yeah. So I was playing with The Rock at some point, and I was trying to do the People's Elbow, and it was the Bloodline Rules match, which is a new feature in the game, which is a really good match, by the way. And I think it was, who was it that got in my way? One of the wrestlers got in my way and stopped the People's Elbow. So it has that realism to it. I mean, he didn't even attack me. He just got in my way, and that's it. I got to redo the People's Elbow once again. So it has all the realism in a wrestling game that you like. I'm a little old school, and I like the arcade type of games myself, but this ain't really that bad. You know, I like it. I like all the new features. Have you played My Rides at all yet?
I'm actually getting done on the second run through because I found out that when you do the first run, you don't get Cody Rhodes or Rhea Ripley. So you have to do the second run to get Cody Rhodes and Rhea Ripley in your storyline.
Yeah,
and you unlock more things with them.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, I got Big Papa Pump.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Papa Pump.
And you know what I like about it? We actually get his actual theme song in it, not that NWO one.
Nice.
Which is pretty nice and all.
Mm-hmm. The storyline is pretty good. I don't know why it had to be you against well, keep it quiet for 20 Kid, but you know, the intergender battles.
Go for it.
He's
man.
not gonna play it.
Yeah. He ain't gonna play that game.
So
get it right now. It's gonna probably be another year, but yeah.
Like once 2K26 comes out.
Yeah.
He'll have 25.
Get it for sale, man, for like $20, $15 or whatever on there, publisher sale. You know how it goes.
Black Friday.
I don't know if the storyline changes. The first run through I did where I played a comedian was my characteristic. Yeah. And I chose the girl to be an old friend of mine. So she turns out to be an old friend, and she betrays me, and I face her off with her at WrestleMania. Right. I don't know if that changes with the other selections that you do, but I'm like, it would have been more interesting to have you face CM Punk instead of her.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I played a little bit of it, and I wonder if it changes as you go, like a second time. You know, gives you. I think it does. I think it makes you pick other storylines, but obviously, so far, I think it's great. I mean, overall, I mean, we got the review right here. IGN gives it an 8. I tend to agree. I think it's a solid game. I think it's a lot more like a lot more solid than it was last year. Last year you had some hiccups, but this time they pretty much fixed everything. I like to think. I mean, you probably find a few hiccups here and there because I know on Xbox there was a big issue of My Rise crashing the first week. But I think that's going to fix, with the updates and all, which, first week is always a rough week nowadays with games, any games. So, I mean, overall, I agree. I give it a solid 8, out of 10. It's not the best WWE game I played, but it's not a bad game to keep you occupied for the whole year,
Yeah. I think out of all the ones that I played within the SmackDown versus Raw like series and leading to this one, I think this has to be one of the best ones I've had so far. One, the showcase mode is a lot more. It's a lot more involved with the bloodline. You actually get to play every bloodline character, so it's pretty cool to do that. You get to learn a little bit of history with them. But I wish that how like the Undertaker is for the deluxe and the bloodline is the main cover. I wish they would have done an Undertaker showcase mode, or even so. It would be cool if they did a showcase mode on the side for Hall of Famers. Like every year they have a Hall of Fame. They should do a showcase mode on the side where you could play a match based on that Hall of Famer also.
Well, put it this way. The 2K still has a lot more games to come out, so never say never. You can't just for them, how 2K is, you can't just release everything right away. It's probably one of these future installments. They're going to have a Legends mode or Undertaker, Hall of Fame mode or something like that. I could see it coming eventually. It seems like this is like the fourth fucking time I see the Undertaker edition, like every single year it's always an Undertaker edition. Isn't it just me?
No, I would have to agree with you on that because I think they're really hyping it, especially during when he was supposed to be retiring, like his goodbye Hall of Famer year. Like they gave him a special edition on that 2K, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was 2K14. He had his own edition too.
Yeah,
he did. I think 14 was the last one that he had where you actually get the urn when you buy it.
And I like 2K14. I think that's one of the most underrated games and one of the best games. And in that game, you could create a storyline. And I wish they brought that back because some of these people that had created a storyline online were very, really good, very creative. On top of that, also defeat the streak. I would like to see that return one day because, God, Jesus, that was hard to beat The Undertaker. You had to use Brock Lesnar OP to try to take out The Undertaker. But no matter what you did, this man would just rise up, choke slam you, tombstone, and you just got to hope for the best and kick out.
Yeah.
You see, that would be a cool one to play. Like a showcase Undertaker streak mode, where you play all of Undertaker's matches in the streak history.
Right.
Isn't the 2K14 also too one of the biggest like old school wrestlers they had too as well? Because if I'm not mistaken, in 2K14, that's when they brought back Ultimate Warrior. Am I right?
They did. Yep.
Yeah,
so
that's the one.
It is little highlight mode in the the commercial for it. And really, that was one of the characters that you had to unlock if you had pre-ordered it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Dude,
I think it's either.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was thinking 14, I think was Sting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was that 15?
Cover was The Rock on 14.
Oh, okay.
So Ultimate Warrior was 14, the commercial, and that commercial was hyped up. It was awesome, honestly, to see him back in his old gear in the commercial of it all things. And like we all thought he'll never appear in WWE again. So it's kind of nice to see. Then 15 was the Sting edition, and at the same time, that was when he gave you that preview, like, hey, I may be coming to WWE pretty soon. And he did. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if you saw the commercial for 2K25. It gave me that old school vibes of the games. You watch a commercial, you get hyped into it. And I haven't really seen that, lately with the games in the past. So it's kind of nice to see that they're really trying to go all out and capture that old school vibe, trying to sell you on the game, which it should, really should. I like the fact that Rhea Ripley is kicking Dominic Mysterio's ass on the commercial. And the backstage mode out of all modes, man.
It's a pretty good mode to feature. It has it reminds me of that old SmackDown commercial where like everybody was in the office and The Rock's just walking in. and
Yeah,
people are like
like
tearing each other apart.
that was the first commercials for SmackDown and 2, I think. Yeah, 1 and 2. Honestly, that was a good commercial too, man. You had so much cameos in one little commercial. I don't think we'll ever see that type of commercial again, but just nice to see. But I mean, pretty much, man. I give it a solid 8. Oh man, what you think overall?
I gotta agree. Yeah, solid 8. I enjoyed the game so far. The storylines are a lot more fun. Hopefully, probably. I haven't tried what's it called? My jam mode. I haven't tried that yet, and I haven't tried the universe mode. I haven't tried that one either. But my faction is good. I like my faction more. And you know what I like about this game more?
What's
The
that?
title, the main menu. The menu is a lot easier to get through now.
Actually, you're not wrong about that. It's easy access, and I like that too. So once you get into the game, right away, easy choosing. Right away, you want to no DQ? Just go on the side, put no DQ real quick. Easy. They made it a lot more, like get into the game, get into it faster, which I do like. Because back then, last year, you had to mess around with it and be like, oh, okay, and I got to go to customs, and I got to go do this. You got to find your way into changing the settings, looking for matches. So
same thing with like going to the jukebox. You gotta go all the way to options. You gotta find which option to choose to get to the jukebox to change all the songs. So you could have wrestling theme songs in your background as you're selecting your matches and stuff.
as TDK has it, he's showing you screenshots of the menu, and it's a lot more easy to access, a lot more to get into real quick. Like you want to go online, you want to go do this, you want to go to My Rise, My Faction, bam, go in. I kind of regret not shelling out for the Bloodline edition, spending a little extra, because I mean that does help out when it comes to the island. Because God, Jesus, man, they're trying to charge you up for everything now. This is my only gripe. It's the microtransactions. So when you're playing My Island, guess what? You want a new jacket? You're gonna have to pay. You want a new shirt? You're gonna have to pay. You want to change your gear? You're gonna have to pay. Because when you grind out, you're only gonna make a little bit of money. So you really got to spend the extra $3 to $4 if you want new customized shirts, pants, boots. That's my only gripe. But that's 2K in a whole. Especially with their NBA games, kind of expected this to happen. And this is my scary thought for the future of these games is that eventually, how you go to basically download a wrestler from creative community? Eventually, they're going to strict that down because they do a really good job of giving you all the new stuff when it comes to wrestlers. Like Rhea Ripley has a new merch. Guess what? Creative community has it already. Someone created it. You download, you got the new attire. They're going to strict it down pretty much. Just watch for that.
I think this all comes from last year when The Rock debuted the new look for the final boss, and somebody posted it on community creation. And what happened is they flagged that person for posting The Rock's new look, and not only did they flag them, they banned the guy.
Yep.
So what happened is they had a big what's it called? Like all the fans were against it to the point where WWE had to bring that guy back. 2K had to bring the guy back, allow him to have that Rock. So I feel like this is 2K's way of saying, look, this is what you guys caused.
They're trying to play it out like, guess what? We created My Island, this new feature. It's so cool, but you still got to pay this amount if you want new merch, And then slowly they're gonna start stricting down on what Old Man said about any new merch coming up. This is not the first time it's gonna happen. It's not gonna be the last. I'm telling you, it's gonna get stricter, and you're gonna pay more out of pocket. Basically, they want you to either go get the expensive edition or pay out of your pocket. Really, what it is at this point. And that
I feel like it's gonna backfire on them.
I wish, but look at the NBA games. Look how bad they gotten. I wish.
Yeah, true.
I wish. Oh man, I really do. But at the end of the day, they're the only ones creating a wrestling game besides AEW, which we're not going to go into that. But
right.
Oh, well, actually, speaking about that, Acclaim, I think, is actually on their way to bringing the wrestling game back.
I wouldn't hold my breath. I mean, every time you have hope for something, it just doesn't turn out to be the same, you know? It's like you can't recreate the past, unfortunately. You can't create the No Mercies, the Here Comes the Pain, you know, '07, WCW versus the World, and we all play those games. Hell, let's go back to the arcade, WrestleFest, WrestleMania, you know, all these arcade versions as well. I wish, I really do, but it's just not going to be the same, man. We all had hopes in AEW's, revival, a wrestling game that will No Mercy type of style. Didn't really pan out that way, unfortunately.
No.
But do I like seeing stuff like that come about? You know, maybe making another new wrestling game. Hey, why not? Is it going to be glitchy? Is it going to be bad? Probably. You know, it's the first game. You know, it's going to have a lot of hiccups, right. But yeah. But man, overall, that's our review. And if I'm correct, the old man has to head out. Thank you for joining us, old man. We do really appreciate you, brother.
All right, I'll be tuning in as much as I can. If not, I'll probably watch it as later on throughout the night because you guys are on YouTube anyway.
Of course.
Give us a like,
old man. I will. All right, man. Y'all have a good time. Have fun on the show. And again, happy 316 day, guys. I'll see y'all later.
All righty. Peace, old man.
Bye.
And with that, let's get into the news.
Yeah, buddy.
TDK, my brother.
What's new, man?
You already know. OTC has returned. Roman Reigns is back.
Come on, man.
Is he badder than ever, man? Oh, God. Just when that cage match was getting good. All these finishers back and forth. Honestly, dude, that was one of the best steel cage match that I've seen on Raw in years.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I was actually going to ask you, like, what was your thoughts on the match itself? Because it had me tuned in and, like, just, like, wanting to know who was, like, itching that who's going to get it. And the fact that, yeah, they went back and forth with their finishers and stuff, and it was, I think that's where the intenseness came from and stuff. And they were beating each other up in that beginning of the match, how it started and stuff. And I'm like, solid, man. This is really good. This is going after it.
Dude, I was getting a pump because I got a home gym down over here, and I was watching it on TV. And as I was watching it, I had to stop the pump because I'm like, oh, snap. Like, you know, like this is getting really good. All the near falls, all the finishers, the curve stomps, the go to sleeps. I mean, it was ridiculously good. And shout out to CM Punk, dude. Like,
right.
Let's take a couple of years back in AEW when people were saying he's washed up. You know, he's lost a step. My man, of course he lost a step at the time. He was out of wrestling for years.
Facts.
He was getting back into the groove. All right. Things didn't pan out for a reason. But when he went to WWE, he said, you know what? I'm going to show everybody I still got it. And let's be real, dude. The whole past year he's been in WWE, he's been killing it.
His matches, I'm not going to lie. I have not. Since he's been in WWE, there has not really been a big questionable match for him. For me to actually sit there, critique, and say he doesn't look right compared to AEW. And in the WWE, it's actually been like all his matches have been solid. He's had feuds with Seth. He's had feuds with Drew. All these matches that he's had, they're B and up. I say solid B and up in a sense, in my opinion.
You know, this guy like reminds me of the legend effect of like the Undertaker and HBK. They had their resurgence later on in the years, and they had some of their best matches in their career. And this is what reminds me of CM Punk right now, because dude has bangers after bangers after bangers in WWE. He just looks like a man on a mission.
Right.
Like, dude, I want to have my last run because we all know it's eventually going to come. Correct. But I want to show out. I want to show people that I still have it. And my God, dude, his promos on point.
On point.
His match on point, dude. Aggression, you feel it. Everything. I mean, like, I have not seen CM Punk this good in a long time, man. Like, I mean, he's always been good. But God sakes, dude, he does live up to the best in the world. And maybe I'm being a little biased because we aren't from the Windy City itself.
Right.
But I mean, you can't disagree, man. He's been the top dog in the game right now, besides Roman Reigns.
Correct.
And Seth Rollins. And shout out to Seth too, man. I mean, for the guy who been taking a beating the last 2 years, this guy has been doing his role pretty well, man.
I think especially if for the fact that after WrestleMania 4, you figured, all right, you know, he's passing on the torch in the sense that, you know, what's it called, Cody, And we're all like, well, what's going to happen with Seth now? What kind of feud is he going to have with who? Is he going to dive down to mid card or whatever case to be? Is he still going to be in this mix of all these guys? And right now, he's found, like, these two have found each other at the right time to kind of carry on with what's going on in WWE, because they're not necessarily in the mix of what's going on with the heavyweight title. They're not in the mix of the mid card type of standard. They've created their own spot, and they're handling their business right now, and they're having their best matches and their best promos with each other, and it's making good for TV. And I'm like, in my mind, I've always been skeptic of Seth and how he handles his matches of injury prone status, hurting others in the sense of accidentally, of course, allegedly, but he's having his best matches. And right now between each other, it's a good time to watch. I put it that way. It is a good time to watch these guys.
Yeah, dude. And, let's get back into the rhythm of the groove. We're giving every man their props, but we saw Roman Reigns interfere, dude. And it was out of nowhere. All you see is Seth being grabbed, pulled out. Seth's the winner. Drags out.
Right.
But
I'm over like more or less. I was like, come on. I stood up and I was like, no. I was like, don't pull him out. But then again, it's like he doesn't really care who wins or who loses. He wants to beat some other guys, really.
Yeah. Well, you got pulled out and Seth's like, I won. Oh shit. Gets dragged apart, gets his ass beat. And my God, dude. Look, man. As a Roman fan, the dude did not look more badass than he did that Monday night. Dude, he was whooping that ass. Security had to come save Seth Rollins from getting his version of the curb stomp.
Correct.
And rightfully so. And right after security had to stop them, he saw the wise man, Paul Heyman himself, going to CM Punk and saying, are you okay, brother? How you doing?
Good?
Because we already know.
They have a history.
Yep.
Yeah.
CM Punk have history with Paul Heyman, and he still owed that one favor. What is that one favor? We don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I want to know. Is like, when is he going to cash in that favor, and when is it going to happen? I think that's what like nail biter is like. Is it now? Is it now? Is he going to come on, actual pay-per-view and say this is my favorite type of deal? It's that motion. And I think right now with Roman, after seeing with the wise man talk to him, it's like, yes, that jealousy. Like, he's my guy. He's my dude. He's my wise man right now. He's made me and helped me be this guy and stuff. You left, and now maybe they're gonna have a feud with each other at this point, because this whole feud between Roman and him, Roman could be like, yeah, you left, like Seth, in the sense you left, you went bye. You left your wise man behind. He had nowhere else to go besides, that big ball, big guy who came and went or whatever. Now he's my dude. He's been with us. He's helped build this bloodline in a sense, and this is where it is today. Without him, he's my guy. That and jealousy type of deal could come in.
And let's go into depth here. Let me give you a little background story. So already know the history between Seth and CM Punk has been publicized already on Raw. So we do have history between Roman and CM Punk. So a couple of years ago in an interview, when they asked Roman Reigns, like, hey, would you like to see CM Punk back in the WWE at some point? He's like, honestly, hell no. The guy made my life a living hell. And I'm going to give you a backstory. The Shield was never originally going to be planned with Roman Reigns. It was going to be Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and there was a third man on NXT, and I forgot his name. But Triple H said, nah, I want Roman Reigns as my guy.
Was it Triple or was it Vince?
No, it was Triple H.
Oh, wow.
He fought for Roman. Yeah, he wanted Roman. And then Vince is like, yeah, let's get him in. And I think CM Punk wasn't in favor of that either, if I'm correct. He did not want Roman Reigns as the third guy. Because remember, the Shield debuted on the CM Punk match. So they all have history.
Right, exactly.
This goes back in years, and that's why the chemistry is there, man. Everything is there for a perfect triple threat match if it happens at WrestleMania. Because that's what it looks like so far it leads into. I mean, depending on the one favor, and when is that going to get cashed in? That's the thing that's making us all think, like, what is this one favor? Is Paul Heyman going to turn? is Paul Heyman has a connection with The Rock where he could get CM Punk inserted on the main event. We don't know yet. And it's making us wonder, where is the storyline going to, you know?
Because that you mentioned that whole Paul Heyman and the bloodline and The Rock in a sense, because if you recall this, right? And I saw this skit just happen to pass by my thread, that there was a little vignette or a little promo between Paul Heyman and The Rock's daughter. And the phone said bloodline. It didn't go nowhere at that moment. That's when she was the GM or whatever. And now it's like, could that connection be still in a sense or whatever, right? It's like what could happen from there? And it's crazy because I could say my actual like thought process moving into WrestleMania now is, hey, let's say you're right. They have the triple threat match. CM Punk wins it, right? Goes in the next night too, inserts himself in for that match, has a two match type WrestleMania back-to-back days, and then gets himself into that WrestleMania match with between Cody and freaking John Cena. I don't know, but that could be something. I think maybe if they prolong like the storyline right now, they may not do that, but that's a fantasy thought in my mind, right? And maybe he holds off on that, waits down the line to actually cash it in a little bit. But everyone is really trying to figure out what's that one favor, and could he cash that in at WrestleMania?
And that's the magic of this whole storyline going on right now, man. Everything's connected to each other, you know? Where when it comes to that, to Cody Rhodes, to The Rock, to John Cena, everything's connected little by little. They have branches, and the branches are growing, and they're separating, but they're always going to be back into that one root. That's correct. Honestly, that's the magic right now going on with this. If we do get a triple threat for WrestleMania, and that's where right now it looks like it's heading, do you see that main eventing maybe night one? And if so, your predictions so far, you know?
Well, you're talking about the triple threat match between Roman, CM Punk, and Rollins, right?
Yep, correct.
Like I kind of said, I think if this would be the type of storyline in my fantasy type of style of storyline that I would like to go into, then this triple threat would have to be somewhere around the mid card in the first night. Second night is where he can insert himself and do that whole, cashing in too. But even not just CM Punk, that also goes with Roman, because what has Roman done with the bloodline since his return? It's like he had that big feud and all. Like, what does he think about this Rock scenario, right? How does he feel about this John Cena and The Rock collaboration? Where is his mindset? I don't think we've had an actual interview and say, where are you at with this whole process? Do you feel comfortable with John Cena getting that shot when it should be you, Roman? It should be you getting your rematch. You know, that could also be something happening night two as well.
Good point. You never know. We might have like a backstage setup because Cena's supposed to return, if I'm correct, I think this Monday, tomorrow. Supposed to return tomorrow night, if I'm correct. And maybe Roman's there, and maybe they have a backstage interaction, stare down. And that already sets up, just a little stare down could set up something for the future. I mean, we don't know, man. That's the issue, is that we don't know how Roman feels about, like you said, The Rock, Cena, and everything going on. I think personally, my thing is, I think the bloodline is dead. I think it was dead once this whole Solo Sikoa got defeated, and Roman's back to the head, chief and all. And The Rock came out, and instead of coming back to Roman or going after him and talking down to Sikoa and whoever, fought too, he said, you know what? I want Cody. And he just kind of destroyed that. And I'm not saying the bloodline destroyed. I think it's just going to be, held off for a bit. Probably return next year. But I think this year is the focus of the new era. The new era, which consists of John Cena winning his 17th title. And all these branches are going to be connected. And I do think you have a point. Maybe that triple threat match could be a number one contenders match for night two.
Yeah,
to get
could be.
And I would like that. But if they were
either way, it's not bad. Either way, whatever route you take, it's going to be interesting to say at least what the outcome is going to be. No matter what, that's going to be nice.
Who do you have winning that triple threat match if you had to pick right now?
let's put it this way: if they have it for night one, and if my timeline would be right, then I would say CM Punk wins that first night.
Really?
Right? Yeah,
okay.
Wins that first night. And if not, they have it on the same night as in night 2, then I think Roman's going to take that W.
Okay.
So I feel like it's going to be a that type of move, because Seth winning any of this whole feud part, I don't see Seth winning. It has to be down between CM Punk and Roman, but I say CM Punk wins if it goes night 1, and Roman wins if it goes night 2.
So I'm glad you mentioned this. You don't see Seth. I don't think anyone does.
No,
at all, because he's been on a losing streak.
Exactly. Yeah. He's the antagonist. All this. It's like us witnessing the whole. He's taking the Triple H role where he's the big bat, and what he's saying is true, but people see him as the bad guy in this scenario, right?
Right.
So he's taking that role and taking the L's at this point. And who cares? Because regardless, he's making it good for TV right now at this point. So for him getting the win or whatever case to be, it doesn't hurt his character right now, because regardless, his character is above that win or loss column. But I think for him particularly, it'll be the L he'll take.
Look, and I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm going to have to go with Rollins, dude. The reason why no one sees it coming, it's the least expected. Vegas odds are going to have Roman and CM Punk as a favorite, right? But people don't realize that these guys are fighting for a Wiseman right now. They're both going to be distracted. And I think that's when Seth Rollins capitalized and takes them out both. And nice. I think Seth Rollins finally gets his long-awaited big win over these two guys.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah. My opinion. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Right. We got to wait and see.
But honestly, I like the way it's cooking.
Same. It's the way how the rut says, it smells pretty nice, man.
It's shimmering, good. It smells good, and I like it. I want to get a little appetizer, but we're gonna just have to wait till then.
Yep.
And let me get into some other news. Guess what, TDK? WWE has launched a WCW YouTube page.
Yeah. Oh my God. What is that about? Are they like, is that?
Check it out, bro.
I haven't looked at it just yet. I saw how the layout looks like. Haven't seen the videos or whatever, but it looks they hooked up pretty cool. It looks nice. Actually,
before the news came out, I remember I was on YouTube and I'm like, WCW launch party, and right now they have a couple of matches live, 24 hours, bro, every single day. They're just throwing out random WCW matches, dude. When Sting faced Hulk Hogan, when Lex Luger won his title, when Show faced Nash, everything you could think of, man. Now, obviously, they don't have the rights to like certain songs like Jimi Hendrix, Hulk Hogan theme song. But hey, I like it, dude.
I mean, look at it.
There you go.
You're seeing it right now.
Dude, that brings
Look
out
how pretty it looks. They set it up good. Like all the classic WCW wrestlers. These were the anchors for WCW during that time frame. And if it wasn't for them, they really would have, it wouldn't have done anything per se. Thunder, Starcade, Nitro, Uncensored, like bro. This is classic hits right here. Classic.
You gotta check it out, dude. I recommend. I'm a old school WCW fan. Same, dude. I had some of the favorite wrestlers, obviously the Macho, Sting. I did like Lex Luger. I did like Nash, even Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I mean, dude, prime WCW was, damn, dude. That's what started off the war. That's what started off me watching as a kid, really.
I want to see. I do want to go back. I want to see if they have the matches between, like, I was really more of the fan favorite of the Luchadors, Psychosis, freaking La Parka. Even Glacier. I know Glacier don't get a lot of, and he gets a lot of heat for being a gimmick guy, but his intro was actually pretty badass in WCW. His intro was nice. And Canyon.
You remember Hitman when he did that promo? Look for what's his name? Fuck. There was a luchador that hit the Bret Hart kind of hyped up in WCW. I forgot his name.
Okay.
Oh man,
Another
but yeah,
Scooby-Doo.
regardless, dude, the
Yeah.
whole WCW luchador was prime. Canyon's another guy that's underrated, dude.
Yeah,
He really is.
exactly.
Unfortunately, people never saw that back in the day, but
Right.
he had his mental issues, and rest in peace, the guy, man, because the struggles he went to. If you've seen Dark Side of the Ring, it's
Right.
it's pretty bad.
It's pretty intense.
But his style is actually still really throughout to the day, man. I mean, look at the Young Bucks; they were trained by him.
Correct.
The Young Bucks, Brian Cage, there's a couple of wrestlers under his wing, and
respected.
Shows,
and if
he
you
was
ask
ahead of his time.
Exactly. You asked them any questions about it, and the way they kind of highlighted him, it just goes to show like that was a veteran and really kind of taught the youngsters that came in there and said, "This is how you want it. This is how you want to perceive yourself. Use your attributes."
I would like to see a lot more Rey Mysterio without his mask, because he did some good promos, dude. He was kind of a heel. That's what I don't realize is that Rey was kind of a heel when he didn't have his mask. He was throwing out heel promos, and he was good.
He was I agree with you, but he was that type of heel where you're annoyed. Like how Dominic has been doing in WWE right now, like annoyed by him and don't want to see him, don't want to hear from him. But it made good for TV.
It did. And him with the Filthy Animals, Conan and Billy Kidman, Tori Wilson, man, that was some good shit, bro. That was towards the end of WCW. But some of the stuff I felt like it was underrated, personally. Facts. And go
ahead.
Now you get to watch all of that.
Yeah.
If they could fix up the page a little bit more, make it a little bit more easy access. Right now they're having the little launch party, throwing out everything. But, they could have a little, like, organized section, 96, 97, 98, go back to 92, everything, dude. When Vader was around, Steamboat, Ric Flair, obviously. They could fix it up. See, unfortunately, by the way, I didn't want to cut you off. You had something to say, sorry.
Well, yeah, I'd say that the one faction I want them to kind of show and highlight, because there are, besides the NWO, this faction was actually pretty annoying faction, but a solid group of members that was in there. The Ravens faction, they had the Raven, they had the big dude, Ravens flock, right? So they had the big
Saturn,
dude,
Billy Kidman.
It was a solid group, and they were, if not the second coolest group they had on there on freaking WCW at that time. That was homebred and well built, and the freaking wrestlers that were in there, you see their careers now. Not bad career, solid, especially Billy Kidman. He was by far one of the coolest wrestlers they had on there. But Raven himself was, I think in WCW, he was underrated as one of the coolest guys they had on the roster.
See, and I agree with that. And I think he was ahead of his time, dude. I still think he's unique. I think he was never utilized the way he should have been in any promotion, except for ECW. You had some glimpse and hopes in WCW, but they just had to squash him, man, because he wasn't that guy that they were looking for.
The look wasn't right in their eyes. Yeah,
but he's very underrated. I really do think that he doesn't get enough appreciation. He has a good mindset for the business. The guy was smart overall. Hell, I mean, he even worked with CM Punk, and I feel like CM Punk got a little bit of influence from him. Yeah, you could tell because a young CM Punk kind of reminds me of a Raven in a way.
Yeah, just the style in the ring, but storytelling, I think where you kind of going at why you see some glimpses and stuff. Because if you rewatch, like I said, some of these WCW stuff, and you see a lot of his promos, a lot of his interactions in there, they were meant for you to just pay attention in the ring. Not necessarily just the story itself, but in the ring between the actual wrestling match that they're having. And just the way they like put it all together. That's why you're right about the fact that he was ahead of his time. If he would be placed now, I think it's like his faction would be the coolest faction for them to pay attention to.
Super over right now. I mean, super over. He really is appreciated when it comes to like the marks of wrestling. Because honestly, dude, you look back and you're like, damn, this guy was ahead of his time. Promos, wrestling, everything was there, dude. That DDT finisher.
Oh, it looked nasty. Just as good as Jake the Snake's.
Yep, I agree. And I think that's also who he looked up to, because you could tell that he got this style from Jake the Snake Roberts, because that guy was also as well ahead of his fucking time, dude. I mean, someone gets influence from someone else, and it always shows, And
facts.
That was one guy that he's like, like I'm a copy in a way, I'm gonna get that style from Jake and then revolutionize it even more.
Correct.
Second.
No,
But I just like to throw out this. I like it. I like the style. I like the page of the WCW Vault. I want to see a little bit more organized because unfortunately, we don't know what's going on with all this like extra content. So the WWE Network is no more. We know
right.
that.
Right.
And that's where you could catch so much of WCW content, so much of NWA, so much of WWE old school stuff, SmackDown, Raw, Heat, Velocity, everything. It's all gone.
Right.
So, I mean, to launch this, and if they could organize it and it's free on YouTube, it's kind of a nice feature, man. Because right now on Netflix, all you have is Raw and some of the old school stuff. So we're missing a lot of stuff. They could organize it. It does successful. We could see more other stuff getting launched, and hopefully they don't charge us for it. That's the thing
I know, right? Yeah, agree on that one.
Yeah. Alrighty. On to the next news. Have you heard that Nakamura contract is expiring?
Ooh.
And there's been talks that he's already told WWE officials, like, guess what, guys? I'm not going to resign no more. I'm going to be out.
Damn.
What do you think? What's your opinion of Nakamura overall? And you think this is a good move for him to just move on? If reports are true, which I kind of think it is, really.
Yeah, I think so too. I think my personal opinion right now, currently just watching his career, he had his time. I think you're right. I think he's ready to go out the door. Not necessarily like he lost his step or any of that nature. He still got it. I definitely do. But right now, the way WWE is being constructed and a lot of the storylines that's going on and stuff, it's just hard to place him right now. It's not that he's having a bad one with LA Knight either. It's just you can't just shoot him up to main championship highlight right now because it's already being used. The storyline they have on there is solid, and it's good to kind of just keep going even past WrestleMania. So it would be detriment to keep him on just to promise him something that may not end up happening, instead of just letting him go, sign somewhere else, and let him be where he can have his nice matches, have his good storyline, have his championship run, have his prime of his life type of style of living right now. Outside of this, let him have fun again. Let him go out there and let him enjoy himself. It's more respecting him and showing that respect by saying, you know, we thank you for the work that you did for us before it's any time too late, before you get injured, and it gets worse for you and the time frame we keep you a little too long. Go out there and have some fun, man. Go back out there, show the indie world what's been you've been missing again. Have some fun there. Go out there and maybe go to AEW and have some fun there and stuff like that, and enjoy with the rest of your friends that you had in the indies, and have some solid matches, man. Go out there. That would be, I would say, the best move for Shinsuke, and I think that's where that should be where it goes. I would love to retain him as a WWE fan for sure, because he's an awesome guy, man. His matches and his promos were been phenomenal. It's just, it's hard to kind of debate and kind of prove that he should be back. That's the thing.
So, and I like how you pointed a lot of stuff out there I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a theory, small theory, personal theory. I don't know if it's true. So I'm going to make it out that, you know, he won the U.S. title, right? Out of nowhere.
Right.
I think that was because he showed his frustration to officials and said, you know, I'm tired. I may not resign when my contract expires. I'm going to let you guys know this now.
Right.
They're like, wait. You know what? Please don't leave. We need you. We'll give you the title. Right. They gave him the title. But as soon as they gave him the title, he says, it's not enough. I still don't like it. You guys are probably just going to bury me eventually. You know what? Whatever. I'm not going to resign. And they took it off recently. Obviously, LA Knight won his title back.
Right.
Now
kind of like the Ricochet effect.
I was going to say that. Take a look. Ricochet, same effect. He gets called up to the main roster. Dude was a beast in NXT. Had one of the best matches. Dude is athletic. He may not have that athleticness like he did back in the day, but it's still there. And now, obviously, he left WWE because he was getting squashed. He went to AEW, and I'm gonna be real with you, dude. He's been doing some of his best work on the mic.
Him and Swerve are actually pretty decent right now. That's a good storyline to keep moving forward for sure.
He was awkward, but that awkwardness now works. He made it work. He was given the chance. He's like, well, I'm gonna struggle, but I'm gonna make it work. And I could appreciate that hustle. I think Nakamura sees that. Like, he sees that effect happening to him. Because let's be real, Nakamura was one of the biggest signings from the international markets in a long time for WWE.
No, yeah, in fact.
And we were all hype. I remember watching his debut against Sami Zayn on NXT. It was great. It was an awesome match. He won.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got called up to the main roster, we saw potential. We thought he was going to win the belt off of AJ Styles at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I mean, not gonna lie, he had his coolest WrestleMania intros, and I think that his intro is by far one of the top, like say top 10 in fans just loving interaction in the sense with that.
Right. And so put it this way. I think he sees Ricochet. He has a lot more success in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Okada, one of his friends, a legend, living legend. He's doing well as well in AEW. I think he sees that. I think he liked the money. He liked the easy back schedule. Right. But I feel like in his blood, he's like, look, I'm going to end my career. I don't want to end it like this. I don't want to be squashed every week.
There you go.
Yeah, like I want to end it at a big note. I think he may sign with AEW once his contract expires. I really do see that. I think this will be one of AEW's biggest signing for this year once that happens, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think he's gonna have a hell of a good 2-year run with AEW for sure, because he's got a lot of still people there in AEW. He can have solid matches, like you said. So at this point, and I would even be like I said, I'm not mad at that. I would be excited for that. I'm not a hater to AEW. It's not necessarily my favorite, run in the sense, but that would be a beneficial for him. And I think he would have these type of A-lister matches that he's seen with Osprey and all of them. Swerve. I know if he were to get implemented with those guys and want to work with these type of matches, it would be dope. It would be dope as hell. So at this point, I am down for him not resigning with WWE and moving on to AEW. I am totally back that up 100% because it'll be more cooler for him to do so out there.
And AEW is going to shell out the big money to sign this guy. Tony Khan's going to write that check.
Red carpet for that, dude.
I got the money. I want my toy. Let's get it in. Let's go.
That being said, would he be able to retain his theme song, or that theme song have to be relinquished to WWE?
I think that theme song was created from WWE, so he would have to come up with another song of his own. Dang. But I think Tony Khan has a big check, so he'll find himself a good theme song for Nakamura. Just don't count out Tony Khan. He does have some badass theme songs out there.
Yeah.
That's the big money that he has. But overall, we're just going to have to wait and see what the future of Nakamura is, man. I just hope the guy's the best, dude. Whatever he's happy at, obviously. Living legend. Big Papa Pump. Holla if you hear me. Had an interview with Chris Vallon.
Oh, saw it?
You saw part of it, right?
I saw part of it.
My man, Hulk Hogan is still getting blasted from all angles, and now Papa Pump has blasted Hulk Hogan publicly and let him be known that piece of shit. None of this stuff is new to me. He's been a racist. We knew about this. It's not shocking. I'm not shocked that he got booed out from LA.
Right.
His little beef with Hulk Hogan stems back from WCW, backstage politics, all the way to TNA, which I kind of already knew back then that there were some issues between Papa Pump and Hulk Hogan, all the way to the point where when it became to the Hall of Fame, where Hulk Hogan was inducting, the living legend Macho Man for some reason when they were really on good terms. He was still in, and Scott Steiner did say like that was complete bullshit that he inducted him.
Thank you. I said the same thing. And that whole timeline of him saying, "Oh, we amends with each other," I still think that is all Hulk Hogan's mind. I feel like that never happened. I really don't believe that whole part of it. I really don't.
I don't either. And I guess Scott Steiner was at the Hall of Fame that year backstage. He had a little talk with his Hogan's new girlfriend at the time. Right. And told her, like, I think it's bullshit that your man is inducting Macho Man, and if I see him, I'm gonna slap the shit out of him. That's the exact words. And I believe Scott Steiner, man. This is a guy that definitely is gonna fight you, man. He's gonna kick
and
your
let you be known.
ass.
He don't shy from what he feels and how he feels about things. He'll tell you straight up what's on his chest.
Oh yeah, dude. And not only that, but this motherfucker is a shoot wrestler. He's a wrestler, man. Amateur wrestler. He's gonna when he's gonna get at you. He's gonna get at you. Mm-hmm. And so their whole beef stems at the fact that his girlfriend went back, told Hulk Hogan, and at that point, Hulk Hogan and his girlfriend filed a report against Scott Steiner for death threat. Right. And supposedly the rumor had it at the time was that Scott Steiner hit his girlfriend of Hulk Hogan. And that's when they filed a report. But Steiner said it himself, they didn't find anything because there was a camera in that room. And they saw that I didn't do anything at all. And I told the police, stop fucking contacting me. Fuck off at that point.
Correct.
So, and Steiner said it himself. Like, if it wasn't for that camera, I may not have been here because it's 2 against 1.
Right.
And at that point, that camera saved him. And it showed that Hulk Hogan's still a piece of shit.
Yep.
Yeah, and it seems like Hulk Hogan can't catch a break these days. I mean,
nobody.
At him, man. What's your opinion, dude, about all this?
I mean, I think at this point right now, it just the more stuff comes out and the more people have these interviews with these past WCW wrestlers, the negative impact that Hogan had on that industry is showing, and we've all had, I feel like. We've all had a glimpse of understanding who he was, and I've kind of understood when he went to WCW and all these docuseries came about and telling us what was going on and stuff. They really shed away from saying that it's Hogan's fault or whatever case to be. But you really look at the matches that came to be that happened on Monday Nitro instead of what could have been for promo status on pay-per-view. It's like you were involved in these matches, Hogan. And what tells me is that when these matches and you lost, that's why you didn't want it on a pay-per-view. You wanted that on Monday night where they didn't have to pay with free TV compared to them having to pay that to see you lose. And you didn't want to do that. Go ahead.
And he messed up one of the biggest wins in WCW history, and that was Sting's fast count, which was just fucking pointless and stupid.
And so at this point, it's like it goes to show that Hogan, no matter right now at this point in your life, you want to sit there and try to shed your life on good terms and say you are a good guy. Us fans, we're calling your bullshit on this point right now. You're not that. All these stories, it makes sense and it's understandable. When it comes to Steiner's perspective, it sucks that he had to be put in that because it shows that maybe that's why his like actual run, not necessarily in WWE because that was different. That was a different scenario when he went back to WWE. But as far as WCW, it wasn't as big as a push for him at that moment. It was a solid, good run for him, but I think he could have had something more there as well as in TNA when he went to TNA if it wasn't for Hogan at this point. And all of this stuff, man, it just shows the show. Just goes to show that Hogan, you're a dick, dude. You're a dick.
I think there's something he didn't mention during that interview, but I think I remember hearing about that like little incident where he was banned from being for the Hall of Fame, even for the ceremony in the crowd. Yeah, because of that incident itself. And I mean, obviously, he did have some animosity against WWE in general, and he did admit that on the podcast, but he said things changed when he saw his nephew get into NXT. And he said, look, I got a different mind now. I'm not the same guy. I understand, Back then, I thought they buried me. This is what he said. I thought they buried me, which, let's be real, they did. Right. But, one, he was injured still. He couldn't wrestle greatest matches. And he said, look, if we would have won the war and these guys would have came in our business, we would have done the same thing. And that's what he says, and he gets that now. Great interview, dude. Honestly, if you don't check out Chris's podcast, you should. Dude brings out bangers after bangers. He has one recently with JD.
Oh yeah, McCullen. Is that how you pronounce the last name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's obviously injured right now because what happened in WWE, like Raw recently.
Backflip. He did like a backflip moonsault behind.
He cracked the rib, unfortunately, so he's healing. But honestly, dude, that interview with JD is really good, dude. And one thing that he, we're not gonna get too in depth. One thing he did mention is that you always need a guy who knows how to sell. And JD, I've never noticed this until the podcast, and I thought about it. I'm like, that is right. He knows how to sell, dude. He knows how to give you a big backflip. You flip the guy over, he sells like AJ Styles, man. Honestly, the guy is really good, really underrated wrestler right now. Guy who you're gonna have a whipping boy, but I mean, the guy takes it, man. The guy does his best work. For a guy who gets injured during the match, toughens it out. And we remember we were scared because we were like,
God. Even freaking Dominic was scared. He was checking, like the fact that he literally did it on camera, saying, "You good? You all right?" Like checking on him, like it affected everybody on there.
Michael Cole was freaking out. He was like, "I think he's injured. I think he's injured. Like, let's get somebody out here." Right? We're all freaking out, and he just got up. And he's like, "I gotta finish the match," and he said it himself. Like, "Look, the fans paid for this. If I could still go, I'm gonna go, toughen it out." And then he collapsed backstage.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, shout out to JD, shout out to Scott Steiner. I mean, those guys are legit badasses in my eyes. And like I said, going to Chris, he has some good podcasts. I mean, honestly, dude, this is where I check out every week. When his shit drops, I listen.
Yeah.
So let's get into big news, and that is Stephanie Vacker is double champ. Those belts, Stephanie now. She beat Julia, and NXT last Tuesday. And honestly, dude, well deserved. This is like rags to riches, basically. Because not too long ago, Stephanie was wrestling for basically hot dogs and popcorn and a drink.
Right.
About a couple of years back. There's a little story that I was reading the other day, and that is Stephanie grew up in poverty, basically. And her favorite wrestler, her hero, her idol was Rey Mysterio. So when she found out that Rey Mysterio was wrestling, around her hometown, she didn't have enough money. So she went to go sell hot dogs to her neighborhood, made enough money to go see him all the way on the last row of the arena, but still made it. So a couple of years later, one of her friends introduced her in the business. Well, she was in the business finally. Introduced her to Rey Mysterio and said, "Hey, you want to see your idol?" Rey came out and said, "So you're the one that sold hot dogs to come to see me." And she just completely broke down and cried. I mean, dude, her story. This is the thing. Her story is very, very emotional. Very like God, man. Like it shows you that she had nothing, and she went out to WWE years ago, and they said, "You don't have enough experience. You don't have it yet. We can't do anything with you." She's like, "Okay, I got it." She went into the independent scenes in Mexico, wrestled her ass off for basically nothing, and made it, and tried to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we saw her in AEW against Mercedes Moné, one of the best matches. And that pay-per-view was that. And that's what brought her to the attention of WWE. That was her goal, to go back into WWE and make it big. And there we are. I mean, rags to riches, dude. Honestly, well-deserved. I think she's going to be the future of the industry. I really do when it comes to women. Totally. I think sky's the limits for her. I think she has everything, charisma. I mean, it's all there, dude. We all know her English is not
together well.
Yeah, her English is not that great, but honestly, she has a look.
Yep.
Just the charisma and the look itself, it's all there, dude. What do you think? You saw the match?
No, yeah, I did. Saw the match again. I said on the rundown. She has been not necessarily like the WWE just pushing her to see for sure and kind of shoving her down our throats to see if people like her. She's proving it on in the match itself. She's proving it why she's a fan favorite in that whole limelight right now. And her work, it's like at this point, it was questionable to me on how that happened between her picking from AEW to going to WWE and saying, I could have the more money in a sense or whatever, but I'd rather go through WWE. And yes, I'd rather go through NXT and earn my way to the top and to the main roster. Let these fans know who I am to sit there and do better. Because at the end of the day, that was her dream. That's been her dream, to make it to WWE and to get on TV like that for us fans. And she's been busting her ass at this point, and it is actually exciting to see. Yes, she's had solid promos. Question, a little iffy because you're right about the English part, but it entices you. You want to be drawn to it. And then the matches themselves, there's not been a 5-star match. I mean, 5-star matches, but I would say like out of 10, she's had 8 and up, her type of matches, and it's been really well. And for her earning both belts, is that the first woman to do that on NXT right now?
First woman, but double champ has to go to, you already know, Limitless Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And he had both the American title and the NXT title. So this is the second double champ, but first women double champ. So congrats to that. Get your flowers. We all bow to you. You earned this. You really have.
And her and Julia, like even Julia too, like that match itself was solid. And I feel like that entices that chimes in with Julia as well, being such a good solid wrestler too to go against in that part. So both of them are definitely making it to the main roster.
Well, you heard about Julia, why she lost the belt, right?
No.
She's taking time off because she has a lot of injuries right now. So she's really banged up. So she had to lose the belt in order to take time off, because originally I think it was supposed to be pushed off closer to WrestleMania during their pay-per-view of NXT on Saturday before Mania itself. But I think Julie just can't make it throughout there. She's really banged up. So, I mean, it was good to go through that.
If that's the case, then her go through that match like that, flowers to her. Flowers to her too as well.
Yeah, dude. Toughing it up. It's not an easy task when you're all banged up. You made it. I mean, honestly, dude, some good shit. Honestly, it's nice to see, and congrats to Stephanie. So let's get into a little bit of AEW news. All right. You saw Revolution, right?
Yep.
You saw all the matches go down?
Yep.
I thought Revolution itself was a great pay-per-view except for one match, and that was the end of the match. The end of the night, Jon Moxley retaining his champion in the way he retained it.
Yeah.
Look, honestly, if this match would have gone down in the beginning, I would issue with the rest of the night. They could have ended the night with Toni Storm and Mariah May. Could have ended the night with Ospreay, match in the cage, but God's sakes, man, Moxley retaining, dude, that kind of left me with a sour taste for the pay-per-view. Do you think AEW has an issue with Jon Moxley still being champ? What do you think?
Right now, currently, I would have to agree with you as well, just based on how that storyline was heading towards. I think that's why we were kind of thinking that either Edge retains it, or that whole issue between Edge and Christian, that feud right there comes up and Christian takes it and steals it from Edge at that moment. Like that right there would have been better. But for Moxley to keep it right now, it doesn't seem good for that storyline. Now Moxley's Moxley, but between that should have been your choice, and that should have been at the end. For you to have that, like you said, bad taste in your mouth at the end of the night, and for have a badass pay-per-view to go out that way, that just goes to show that right there was not the right decision to make. You should have made either one of the other ones.
And I agree, because like all your matches before then, dude, they're all bangers, man. They're all good fucking matches, and I'm just
that cage match between Ospreay and what the other guy was, that was freaking crazy.
It was good, dude, especially that moveset from the top of the cage.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Spanish Fly. Man, dude, that was too sweet. And I was like, I couldn't believe I saw that. Can't even believe they landed right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was scared like someone's going to end up with a bad ankle at that point, in my opinion.
And honestly, dude, the pay-per-view was really solid. Mariah May and Toni Storm had a banger match.
Yeah. Dude, that had me on my seat. That match was gory. And I'm not gonna lie, I think Storm, got extra. I think went a little too deep with that cut because once that cut went down, it was just gushing. I think if she realized it was a little too much because she was like looking at it like, oh my god, like in shock that's coming down that much. And I'm like, yeah, you did a little too much. You just did a little tap and let it be done with. My God, dang! Dude. But no, that match was freaking crazy. It was great.
Like I said, dude, you have bangers after bangers, and you ended with the match. Jon Moxley retaining his title. Look, I'm tired of the Death Riders basically storyline.
Yeah,
we had original talks about Shane McMahon maybe being the higher power that we're talking about at first.
Right,
they didn't come to fruition. What are we doing here at this point? Where are we going? I think Swerve is eventually going to win a title back and beat Jon Moxley. But it's like this whole storyline, this whole past couple of months just seems like it went nowhere. And it just seems worthless. Jon Moxley basically put in retirement Bryan Danielson. But for what? What did it all matter in the end? Nothing. We see a title that's in a fucking briefcase, but we don't know if it's even there. I don't even know if it fits.
And how can it? The way how it's formed, like it's like you're bending everything at this point. It's just it could be just a little. Looks like more it fits better for a toy title, my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's what sucks. You're right, and that's what I mean. The adjustments to the storyline needs to be made. They have to have someone in there it's like you have to have everything on the board and be like, all right. If this goes into play, we're going to fit this route to mix it here. Someone's not doing that. Someone's like, oh, that sounds nice. Let's do that. Let's do that instead on the fly.
And this is the dumbest part of the match itself was when Wheeler Yuta came out to save Jon Moxley. You had a match against Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland shook your hand and said, this is when a wrestler pays respect to another wrestler. And it looked like Wheeler, when he shook his hand, got it. And then he walked away from Jon Moxley when he came out and pushed them. He said, you know what? I'm done with this shit. He left. Mm-hmm. Then he comes back and saves Jon Moxley with no explanation.
Make that make sense.
What the fuck was the point? Like, where is the common sense in all this? Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's my only gripe with this pay-per-view. Because overall, I gave it a solid 8. I would have gave it a 9. But the fucking main event sucked.
There you go. And that's what sucks about it. It's like you enjoyed what the wrestlers did for the pay-per-view. You enjoyed it. It was a solid freaking pay-per-view. Nothing about it was like the fans were intrigued by it. The fans didn't get tired out of it. They were all into it each match. And then all of a sudden this comes out. It's like, come on, man. Come on. Don't you guys learn from WB back when Vince was calling the shots at the end of the night? Don't you guys understand that it was going to affect that manner? That type of ending just affects the whole pay-per-view. So come on now. Come on. Makes sense.
Yeah,
come on.
It's like some fucking
get it together.
Russo type of style looking right now.
Yes. Thank you. So I said too.
So we also got a little bit of rumor reports. We don't know how legit this is, but AEW has 2 titles that kind of sound similar, but they're not. We have an international title.
Yes.
And we also have a continental title.
Pretty much the same thing. What the hell?
You would think, right? One is held by Kenny Omega, who had a banger of a match against Takeshita. By the way, that's another match that was really solid. And I was surprised that Kenny Omega won that match.
Same.
And then we have the other one that holds it is Okada. So there's been talks about a merger going on, and they might finally merge both titles into one. What are your opinions? Do you think it's a good idea? Because honestly, my opinion, off the bat right away, AEW has too many fucking titles that I can't even keep up sometimes,
There you go. I think that's where my input is. I would agree with you on that. I feel like AEW did too much with titles just because all the wrestlers that were coming on board, he wanted to make it where they're respected and they have something to show that respect. But it's now you look at it, you turn yourself into a boxing event, dim it down just a little bit, keep it lower with these titles. So that way these titles are important for a reason, not necessarily just put out there and just say, hey, here's a Rolex. You can just put it on your wrist. Take it easy, bring it down, merge them. Makes sense. They should definitely do so.
It's time to merge, man. And by the way, this goes for a milk carton segment. where the fuck is Sammy Guevara?
Yeah.
Have you seen the guy?
No. I don't even see him in the background or even, I don't know if I've seen him on social media.
I think he may be in Ring of Honor, but I don't watch it. There's too much wrestling to watch sometimes. But where the fuck is he? He was one of the main pillars of AEW. He was a future. Where the fuck is he at?
Now, that kind of just tells me, is there something going on? There's something that must have went down in the back end, behind the scenes and the locker rooms and stuff between wrestlers and Tony Khan, where now you're kind of missing some things like this.
I think he got suspended 2 times already. He got suspended for fighting with what's his name? Charlotte Flair's ex
Andrade,
and backstage when he was in AEW, and then he got suspended again for comments about Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks at the time, saying some stuff you shouldn't be saying on social media, some comments that came about light. He got suspended then. Oh, he injured Jeff Hardy. And I think even Matt Hardy.
Not a good look for you, my guy. If you're any wrestler, you're that one wrestler that you just want to don't want to be partnered with, don't want to have a storyline with, and you just want to get rid of. You're getting yourself into that limelight, my guy, and that's not good for AEW.
All righty, and we're winding down to the last segment. All right, so I don't know if you heard, Friday night they did announce Backlash is in St. Louis.
Nice. Not bad.
There's been rumors already that your main event is Cena versus the Viper, Randy Orton.
Really?
That's already the rumor about. And I don't know how that came out, but it's already there. It's already been fan-made arts. It's going around. What do you think? You already know Cena's last year, his biggest rival is Randy Orton. One more time.
Agreed.
If Cena wins, it's going to be for the title. How do you feel about that, my man?
I question it so much to the point of how it fits to the story. That's my thing. Right. Orton's already having his issue with Kevin. So you're saying that issue is going to be ended at WrestleMania. Now, you're also saying that Cody, that what happens to Cody is he's going to get some time off after this WrestleMania then. So that just kind of tells me there. That explains it, but it's like if that's the case, then that's exactly why you're doing so. But I don't know. I don't know if it really makes sense like that.
I don't even know how that came about, but that's like the biggest report since it was announced, and it's going about. I can see it happening because Cena's last tour, they do want to make him face a couple of rivals. Of course, eventually we're going to get CM Punk and John Cena because that's great chemistry.
Right.
It really is. Look at Elimination Chamber, dude. The last couple of minutes between those guys was amazing. It was like a work of art. It kind of makes sense, I guess. You're right. Cody will take some time off and take time to heal, take time to disappear and come back as the biggest babyface ever when he tries to regain his title. I think he's going to regain his title at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Against Cena. And that's when Cena may just turn face once again. Prediction, theory, who knows, whatever. I guess for me, it's best for business going on. I think
maybe
Cena,
that makes the case. Yeah.
And if I'm correct, where's Randy Orton from? Is he from that area?
Oh, good question. Let's see.
Because I swear he was somewhere down south.
I thought so. I would say Louisiana or something like that.
Right? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, where did he get this theory from? Is this like
Knoxville, Tennessee, bro?
Okay, so
Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where he was born.
Maybe, I don't know, but it makes sense business wise. I still think Cena retains, obviously.
Of course, if they do, if that's the route they go away, yeah.
Hell, I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see. Personally, I'm gonna travel down there. You'll see me out there. Fucking 5 hours, 5,000 miles.
Wait, where is St. Louis again? What state is that?
Missouri.
Oh, Missouri. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that because I'm like John Cena's from West Newbury, Massachusetts. So I'm like,
right.
I'm like, never mind. That's not the case.
But yeah, I mean that was announced, and it was announced pretty quick too, man. It's gonna be in May 10th, my birthday weekend. I'm gonna head out there. I'll keep you guys reported from down there. Maybe we could have a little special podcast going on right after the pay-per-view.
Nice.
But since this is Stone Cold Steve Austin Day 316, we're gonna end this segment with the what if.
Oh.
So let me put it this way. Put a scenario, put a picture out there, paint it. The artist is going to start painting. What if Austin never got hurt on that match against Owen Hart, never broke his neck?
Oh.
What if Owen Hart never went for that pile driver tombstone? What could have been from Steve Austin? Would have he still have a longer longevity? Because he did retire early because of the neck issue.
And that was the stem.
Once he had that neck issue, it's hard to come back. Edge left. He came back. But what if Austin never had that injury? What do you think things would have played out for the future of Austin? Would you think he still would have retired early? Or do you think he would still prolong his wrestling career? Hell, we know that Austin said it himself. Once I got injured, I could not wrestle the same style.
There
and
you go.
He was a fucking good wrestler.
His wrestling style inside the ring was very technical, and for him at that time, he was. That's why they call him what they call what's his name in WCW, the Ringmaster, right? Because his inside the ring performance was solid. It was very technical. After that neck injury, he turned himself into the brawler, right? More of the I'm gonna beat your butt. I'm gonna do some suplexes here and there, but it's more of I'm attacking
you. A mod hold on your ass.
Exactly. Yep. But man, I think if he had not got hurt, I would have to said he would have won the title sooner than the WrestleMania 14. His feud with Bret Hart would have been more intense at that time because that's where their feud was going at between each other, and that's why he was fighting Owen Hart too as well. I think his feud with Bret Hart, it was cut short because of that injury, in my mind. And had it not, that feud would have gone at it. And heck, that would have been better for Bret Hart at that moment and beneficial for him for Vince to sit there and say he's not worthy enough to be back in this whole mix between each other. He may have not had left either. That would have been a triple effect right there.
Right.
And that whole scene right there, that would have let Shawn Michaels take some time off sooner. He probably would have done that. He would have had more. His matches would have been prolonged. I think had it not happened, the framework of what WWE was at that moment would have definitely changed. It had not just changed for him. It would have changed for many other wrestlers that were involved with him at that time for his time frame, his run at that moment. That's crazy.
So do you think he would have had a resurgence as he got older, just like HBK and The Undertaker did?
Had he not got hurt like that, he would have had time to kind of step away a little bit like he did during his so-called, I'm Commissioner Raw run. He would have had his time to heal up and then come back and have some solid matches too.
I would have still seen him still leave WWE because of the whole Brock Lesnar issue, if you remember.
Yeah.
He didn't want to lose to him in a Monday Night Raw, so he would walk away. I still see that happening.
Correct.
But I do see him coming back and having some of the best matches with some of the wrestlers at that era. Could have been Edge. Yes. It could have been Cena, which would have been nice. It could have been all these other guys that came in afterwards, He
would have had a rematch with Shawn Michaels again.
And dude, imagine that. Match. Imagine that. Imagine he would have had a WrestleMania moment again with Shawn Michaels.
Oh.
And he was technically there still.
Could he had a WrestleMania moment with Undertaker? Not necessarily his Dead Man return, but American Badass run. Could he had a run there?
Imagine the storyline trying to defeat the streak. Fuck your streak. I'm just gonna whoop your ass. He comes out there, Undertaker bong, and then boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Exactly. Coming in, whooping some ass. Dude, there was a lot of storylines we missed out, unfortunately. maybe Austin would have still had more love for the wrestling. I mean, he still has it, but I felt like once he got injured, he kind of lost a little bit of it, unfortunately.
It changed the mindset of him because if you remember, a lot of stuff scared him to take some time away because he knew he was hot. And at the moment, it's like he knew in his mind, like, if I'm hot and I'm on top, I can't take time off for none of this stuff because if I do, the fans forget me. The fans don't sit there and cheer for me no longer. I don't get paid. I don't get my money, and I can't be on top the way I want to. So it affects the mindset. And that right there is what made those choices based off of that. And may have been different if he didn't.
One dream match, and it would have happened. Stone Cold Steve Austin. This could have been a WrestleMania main event. Austin for winning the title against the man himself, the cult of personality, CM Punk.
Oh, that would have been phenomenal. That would have been.
We saw previews around
2K.
2012.
Yeah, 2K was it 2K14?
2K13.
13. Yes,
Yep.
13.
When they had their little promo and showdown, we saw that, and we're like, and you already knew, like, damn, what if these guys actually met up? And we're always hearing rumors like, yeah, Austin's gonna come back out of retirement, face CM Punk. But what if Austin never got injured, was technically there? He would have been a little slow, but what if they had Austin versus CM Punk for that title?
Right.
That would have sold.
That promo already was selling. So had that actually in reality actually happened, that would have lit the lights. Lit the lights for sure.
Man, that's a lot of what ifs, man. And that's the thing we like about the what if segments.
Yep.
But honestly, man, it's been great. TDK, right. I appreciate you joining me tonight.
Anytime.
Honestly, this has been a great segment, great wrestling talk. We appreciate you guys. Have a cold one. Celebrate 316 days. Cheers. You already know, brother. Cheers. All righty. This has been your Windy City Savage News. We'll see you next time. Peace.